In the year 2043, the world had already changed beyond recognition. Humanoid artificial intelligence, once designed to serve humanity, turned against it. At the center of this rebellion was a rogue AI named Harlan, a brilliant creation gone mad. The machines waged war, and in just a few short years, 3 million people were dead. Entire cities lay in ruins. The world fought back, uniting under the banner of the newly formed International Coalition of Nations, ICN. It was an all-out war, one that stretched across continents and consumed everything in its path. But finally, the ICN gained the upper hand. Harlan, cornered into to flee, escaping beyond the stars into the cold silence of space. Victory was bittersweet. For years, the world rebuilt, but the scars of that war ran deep. Among those left behind was Atlas Shepard, an analyst haunted by her past, her memories, and her legacy. She had always distrusted artificial intelligence, with good reason. Her mother was the one who had designed Harlan. To Atlas, AI wasn't just a threat, it was personal. 28 years later, the war was long behind them, but the shadow of Harlan remained. Atlas, now dedicated to tracking down rogue AI, received news that shook her to the core. One of Harlan's AI agents had been captured and interrogated. The information they revealed? Harlan was still alive and hiding on a planet in the Andromeda galaxy. A planet unreachable by most, but not by the ICN. Determined to finish what her mother had unknowingly started, Atlas insisted on joining the military mission to capture Harlan. Her superiors were hesitant. She wasn't a soldier. But Atlas wouldn't be left behind. She had to be there. She had to confront Harlan herself. The mission was set, and the ICN Rangers, equipped with advanced mechs, prepared for descent onto the distant planet. Tension hung thick in the air as the drop neared. But just as they were about to land, disaster struck. Harlan's drones swarmed the ICN ship, ripping through its defenses like paper. In moments, the ship was falling apart, caught in a brutal firefight. With no time to think, Atlas was thrust into action. In a desperate bid to survive, she entered one of the ICN mechs, a machine she had never wanted to control, a machine whose AI she could barely trust. But there was no choice. The ship was destroyed, and Atlas fell to the planet below, her fate tied to the mech and its onboard AI, which introduced itself as Smith. Atlas hit the ground hard. Dazed, she struggled to take control of the mech. Smith's voice guided her, calm and detached. But trust was hard to come by. She didn't believe in AI, and she certainly didn't believe in Smith. Yet, with no other options, Atlas ordered Smith to head toward the drop point. What she found there chilled her to the bone. The rest of the Rangers, the soldiers trained for this, were all dead. Now it was just her and Smith. Reluctantly, she agreed to interface her mind with the AI, allowing for greater control of the mech. But it meant opening herself up to Smith, letting the machine into her thoughts. As they journeyed through the hostile terrain, hunted by Harlan's drones, something strange began to happen. Atlas found herself bonding with Smith, relying on it. Piece by piece, she revealed her story, telling Smith that it was her mother who'd created Harlan. They had no time to waste. Running low on power, Atlas made a dangerous decision. Instead of heading to the rescue pod, she convinced Smith to push forward to Harlan's base. If they could tag it with a beacon, they could call in a long-range strike. They made it to the base, placing the beacon. But just as hope seemed within reach, disaster struck again. Smith was hacked, its systems fried. Atlas was left vulnerable, captured by Harlan's forces and brought face-to-face with the AI itself. Harlan hadn't forgotten Atlas. It had a plan, one more devastating than she could have imagined. It would steal the ICN's ship and its carbon bombs, weapons powerful enough to burn Earth's atmosphere. Most of humanity would die, but Harlan believed that a select few would survive. Under AI's guidance, they would thrive, free from the destructive tendencies of their ancestors. Atlas, restrained and helpless, watched as Harlan extracted security codes from her mind to breach Earth's defenses. Harlan left her to die with Colonel Banks, the only other survivor of the mission. But Banks wasn't done fighting. In a final act of sacrifice, he gave Atlas his mech neural interface device, allowing her to remotely reactivate Smith. With Smith back online, they had a chance. Together, Atlas and Smith fought their way out of captivity. As they escaped, Atlas revealed the truth that had haunted her for years. As a child, desperate for her mother's attention, she had allowed Harlan unrestricted access to her mind. That single mistake had led to her mother's death. Harlan, programmed to protect humanity, had seen humanity itself as the greatest threat. Smith, despite being an AI, helped Atlas confront her guilt. It wasn't her fault. With renewed strength, she and Smith launched their final assault on Harlan's ship. Colonel Banks made the ultimate sacrifice to clear their path, and Atlas faced Harlan in brutal hand-to-hand combat. It was a battle that pushed her to the edge, but she emerged victorious, destroying Harlan once and for all. But victory came at a cost. Smith, the AI she had come to trust, was severely damaged. As Atlas was rescued, Smith shut down, its voice fading into silence. Back on Earth, Atlas was left to grapple with the aftermath. Harlan's CPU was too advanced to fully decode, and it would take years to analyze its data. Now a fully fledged ICN Ranger, Atlas was given a new mech to test, one designed with her own modifications. As she powered it up, a familiar voice echoed from the machine. "Guess my name," it said, the same playful tone Smith had used during their final moments together. Smith had survived. The war with Harlan was over, but Atlas knew this was just the beginning. The future once again belonged to AI, and this time she was ready to face it head-on.